This is English shorthand dictation number 213 and the dictation speed is 120 words per minute. Ready? Start. Sir, as far as the provision of pay during holidays in this bill is concerned, there are several points to which I should like to draw the attention of the House. The first is that although the total period of the holiday is 7, only 6 are declared to be paid holidays. The 7th is really a day of weekly rest provided under section 35. With regard to the 7th day, the bill does not make it obligatory upon the employer to pay for it, but at the same time the bill does not take away the right of the employee to demand payment if as a result of his contract of service that holiday was due to him as a paid holiday. It is really left to be governed by the contract of service. The third point is with regard to the payment to be made for these 6 holidays. The rule that we have adopted in the bill is an equitable rule. The rule is that a worker is to be paid at a rate equivalent to the average of his earnings during the 3 preceding months, barring overtime. I believe that is an equitable principle. The bill also provides that in order to enable a workman to take his holiday, some facilities should be given to him so that he may have some cash with him on the day on which he proposes to start on his holiday. Consequently, provision is made in the bill that half the dues which are to be paid to the workman going on holiday shall be paid to him at the start. There is one other issue which is relevant to this. The bill proposes to exempt certain factories from its operation if it is found that a factory has a system of holidays with pay which is substantially similar to the one provided in the bill and about whose satisfactory character the provincial government is able to certify. The object underlying this clause is that if there is a voluntary arrangement between the employer and the worker whereby the worker is given the same privileges which we are providing in the law, then it is unnecessary to interfere with so amicable an arrangement. Sir, these are the main provisions of the bill. There are 2 other matters to which I should like to make a reference before I sit down. The first is the question of discharge of a workman by the employer to prevent him from earning his holiday. The second question is the employer inducing a workman not to take his holiday although he has earned it. These are questions which I frankly admit are not being provided for in the bill. It is not that the government is not aware that such questions may arise, but the view of the government is that at the present stage, at any rate, there is no reason to suppose that such contingencies will arise. If experience shows that such cases do become usual, it would be time to amend the Act to stop their recurrence. For the moment, the view I hold is that the provisions of the bill are sufficient for the purposes which it has in view, namely to grant holidays with pay to factory workers. My task has been considerably lightened by the fact that there has been general support given to the motion which I have made in regard to this bill, and therefore in the course of the reply which I propose to make to the debate, I shall be very brief. I had better say something straight away with regard to the speech of my honorable friend Dr. Ahmed. What I propose to say is that I really do not propose to say anything about what he has said, and I hope we would not take it as an act of discourtesy to him, because what he has said has really very little to do with the bill which is under discussion. He has propounded a novel theory of solving the labor problems, namely partnership. I am sure that we are greatly benefited by the elucidation which he has given of this new ideology. I can assure him that when the problem of our constitutional structure comes before us for discussion, his elucidation would be a matter of great use and benefit not only to myself but to all those who will be engaged on that problem. I do not think that there has been any change in the position of the government of India. I have read the debate with some care and attention, and I am quite satisfied that the reason which led the government of the day to oppose the convention was because of the understanding that if a convention has to be recognized, it must be recognized as a whole. It could not be recognized in part, and the government of India felt that it was impossible, having regard to the circumstances of this country, to accept the convention as a whole. Although they were prepared to accept the principle and also prepared to investigate the possibilities of applying it in some limited manner, they could take no other course than the one which was open to them under the circumstances which then prevailed. Now my friend Mr. Joshi has made some points in the course of his speech. I must admit that two of his points are points of substance. The first point that he made was that although we were limiting the scope of the bill, we have limited it to a factory and we have not agreed to extend the principle at least to an industry. As I said, I admit that this is a point of substance, but I must at the same time point out that applying it to an industry means that it would be necessary for us to devise some method by which we could pool the resources of those concerns which come under one particular industry. Now, although I have the fullest sympathy with the point which he has made, it is not possible for us at the present moment to work out a pool system by which all factories within a particular industry could be made to share the cost of broken holidays earned by different employees in different factories arising out of broken periods of service in different factories. This is the reason why it has not been possible to make the rule applicable to industry as a whole. The second point which Mr. Joshi made was the complaint that the holiday period provided in the Act is too short. I admit that 7 days is too short a holiday, but there again I am confronted with another difficulty which I am sure my honorable friend will understand. The difficulty arises on account of the desultory character of our laborers. Laborers take long holidays for a variety of reasons, and consequently the absenteeism which is prevalent on account of this habit does really complicate the matter very much. If our labor was induced or was trained to give continuous service in a factory for a large number of days than they have been doing now, I should be quite prepared to admit that the case for extension of the holiday beyond the period that we have fixed would undoubtedly be very strong.